Welcome to today's podcast, where we dive deep into the fascinating history and culture of New Mexico. Today, I wanted to speak about the Chaco Canyon, the turquoise trade routes, and the impact of the Spanish colonization on New Mexican culture with my special guest, Allie, who she has shown some interest in the topics that I wanted to speak about today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to learn more about these topics with you that you've learned in anthropology class this year. Let's start with Chaco Canyon. Can you tell us about the significance and its role in the lives of the ancestral Puebloans?
Absolutely. So the Chaco Canyon was a massive center of ancestral Puebloan civilization between around the 9th and the 12th centuries. It's mainly known for its remarkable architectural achievements, in my opinion, such as the Pueblo Bonito and the Casa Renacada. These served as kind of more ceremonial and communal gathering places that they had in their community, which actually reminds me of a term from the lecture we called, which was the reason that these were actually explored and found the discovery of artifacts, called urban exploration, which is defined by the exploration of man-made structures, usually which is abandoned or hidden components of the man-made environment. These are usually what archaeologists did when they were first discovering the canyon, and was a crucial part of the discovery of artifacts all this time later.
Interesting. What made Chaco Canyon such a hub of cultural exchange during that time?
The canyon's strategic location and road network is actually what offered trade communication with distant communities. It became a hugely popular place where ancestral Puebloans engaged in complex rituals, social practices, exchanging goods, especially trading because of its location, and a lot of cultural traditions.
Oh, cool. I've heard that turquoise is a very popular gemstone in New Mexico. It also played a significant role in the trade networks, right?
Yes, you'd be right about that. Turquoise, known for its very blue, light blue color. Yeah, you'd be right. Turquoise, known for its color and spiritual significance to natives in the time in New Mexico, it was mined from distant sources and traded basically throughout the whole region. Its presence in New Mexico is to the connection of ancient societies and the trade of materials and ideas.
That's awesome. Can you tell me about the impact of Spanish colonization on indigenous cultures in New Mexico?
Yeah, for sure. So in the 16th century, Spanish explorers kind of arrived in the region first, which they brought a bunch of new technologies, beliefs, and even social structures with them, which is kind of interesting. So the collision of these cultures kind of transformed the lives of the Native American communities because they kind of meshed into a new culture together, which led to significant changes in their way of life, especially in the quality of life as well.
So how did indigenous cultures adapt to these changes?
That's a great question. So indigenous communities navigated this new reality kind of by incorporating elements of Spanish culture into their own traditions. Like I said, the mesh. So while preserving aspects of their heritage as well, which is kind of interesting. So they kind of formed together. Spanish missions were established, but indigenous beliefs and practices were kept, which kind of created that unique blend of cultures in colonial New Mexico.
That's really interesting. Can you talk more about the importance of cultural preservation in today's society?
Yeah, for sure. So cultural preservation is crucial to me in today's world where globalization, urbanization, it's all kind of threatened the very existence of indigenous cultures. So I think learning from the past, we can work towards a more inclusive and respectful society where diverse cultures are more valued and protected, which is something that we should definitely incorporate in today's world.
Yeah, that's a really good message. How can our listeners get involved in cultural preservation efforts?
So I think there are many ways to kind of get involved. One is to support a lot of organizations that work to preserve these indigenous cultures and languages. Another would probably be to educate yourself about the history and cultural practices of the communities around you. And by doing that, you can become an ally and advocate for the cultural preservation itself.
Those are great suggestions. One last question. Is there a particular book or resource that you would recommend to our listeners or just people like me who want to learn more about the Chaco Canyon and New Mexican culture?
Yeah, for sure. So while I was doing my research, I found a good kind of article. It's called The Chaco Canyon Archaeology by Stephen H. Lexon. It's kind of a comprehensive and accessible book that provides a deep understanding of the history and significance of the canyon itself. So I recommend that everyone interested in this topic should listen or take a read.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really interesting hearing your expertise and exploring these topics with you.
Of course, my pleasure. And that will conclude the podcast today. I appreciate everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.